Receiving a scholarship is a pretty big deal. Tyler McCulloch was the first recipient of the Doug Abbott Scholarship. The scholarship was made in memory of the late Doug Abbott, a nursing student at PUC, who unfortunately died in a car crash about a year ago. This scholarship gives $1,000 to a male nursing student who embodies Doug and what he stood for. I sat down with Tyler as he discussed the scholarship and his experiences as a nursing student.
I took intro to nursing with him 5 years ago, and didn't really ever get to know him, but I knew people who knew him, and I recognized him in the hallways. I knew that he was a real nice guy, um, real fun loving, always had a smile on, super, super, like non judgmental, like very welcoming. My ex girlfriend knew him really well, and she went to his funeral and was really saddened to hear of his passing. I was pretty surprised because I didn't even know it existed. I hadn't heard what it was, but I knew it was a big deal because they asked me to go to colloquy and I was going to stand up front. And I didn't really get the impact of the scholarship until colloquy. I think it was the awards assembly, whatever you want to call it. Um, because beforehand I just thought, yeah, it's just a scholarship. It's another scholarship. I've gotten scholarships before, and but then I realized it was more than just a scholarship, with his family being there
Right.
and the chair of the department and a faculty as well as former friend and everyone like making it a big deal. Um, so I felt like I was honored, and I feel like it's a big responsibility at the same time, because like I said, it's more than just a scholarship. It's kind of like continuing his legacy. To be honest, it was really nerve wracking at first because it's like, I have to say thank you. I need to say thank you. I want to say thank you, but like I don't know, it was just awkward meeting someone that just out of the blue gave you $1,000. But it was a really cool experience because after we got our first initial greetings, we clicked and I helped them out to the car. Spent, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour talking with them. Talked about my future goals. Talked about their nursing history. His mom was a nurse at Queen of the Valley for a long time. We talked about Doug as a nurse. Um, and I really got a better feel of who Doug was through his parents. And it was really fortunate too because his sister was here. She drove out, um, and it was just nice to put a face and a personality behind the name and the money. The department sat down and discussed a lot of or a few individuals that were worthy. And all I can say is do your best to all the students in clinical and provide compassionate care. It's not all about getting A's in tests. It's not about um, knowing all the pharmacokinetics of every drug and all the interactions. It's about providing that compassionate, holistic care for the patients, um, and seeing the patient for who they are, not what their disease is or where they come from or what their socioeconomic status is, but just really see them as an individual. And that's what Doug did in his career. And I think that's part of the reason why I was chosen is because I try and do that to every patient I come across. One thing I'll never forget too is I had a crazy patient. I think it was first quarter, and she had dementia, was very ill, um, and she would cuss me out and say I was the worst effing person that ever was on the planet. And then 30 seconds later, she would tell me how much she loved me. She wanted to hold my hand. She told me how handsome I was and how the best nurse I could be. And then again, 30 seconds later, I was the devil. And so, I mean, that was I was think that was like the fourth clinical. So I'd only I'd only seen four other patients, and so that was pretty um, eye opening to a very young nursing student. So I'll always remember that.